Hi everyone, it's Jenny and Tim. Wanted to share something with you tonight that I've been thinking about for a while. And my hopes for sharing this really is to encourage transparency and authenticity within our growing church plant community. Um, Really, for the past 5 years, I've struggled with seasons of depression and anxiety, and you know that we had this sabbatical from April to July, and we had been praying in advance of that time that season of sabbatical would be protected from any of my mental and emotional health struggles. And unfortunately, that wasn't what ended up happening. It was in some ways, it was really wonderful because Tim was able to be home during that stretch of time and was super supportive and loving towards me in the midst of what was a really difficult season of depression. But it wasn't, a lot of what we had hoped for because I was struggling and we were really trying our best to find some answers and pressing towards healing. But it was sad and hard. And I wanted to share this because it's a reality that I've dealt with for a while. And really, what we want for our church community is to have a spirit of openness and compassion and a recognition that we are living in a broken world and that some of that brokenness is experienced even within our own minds and our bodies at times. So I'm really hoping to normalize this by talking about it openly and to encourage others, to talk about their struggles as well, as we all are seeking for wholeness ultimately. So I wanted to share some of the things that I'm doing and that we've engaged in as I've continued to seek healing and wholeness within these struggles that I've had mentally and emotionally. I think, needless to say, we've been praying, we've been studying scripture, I've been doing my best to remain connected to God in the midst of what has been a really dark time and a really challenging number of cycles of depression. I am taking medication, and I've found that to be particularly helpful this time. It took a long time for my body to get to a place where I felt like it was really impacting me positively, but I'm grateful for that. I'm seeing a counselor who I trust, and I am well cared for by a wonderful psychiatrist and a great doctor, a family doctor. I work out regularly, faithfully. I eat well. I try to get enough sleep. I think the picture I'm trying to paint is that it's like a holistic approach, that there's not a magic bullet really to solving all this, and there's no, I guess, clear-cut answer to any one person's mental health journey. So I'm thankful that at least at this point in this process that I feel like I'm moving towards wellness. And I'm cautiously optimistic, like I said, that this is kind of turned the corner. I think that one of the things people often ask is what can they do to help? And I know that question is coming from a place of compassion and really wanting to be helpful in the midst of challenges. And I think I have a few things. One is obviously prayer for stability, prayer for Tim, who's been such a huge support system to me and has stood by me so faithfully through really challenging times. And for our kids, who I think are aware of some of my difficulties in an age-appropriate way, but just prayer for stability, prayer really that the multifaceted approach that we're taking would produce great results, and that I'd, reach a place where I know that I'm never going to be totally protected from difficult times, whether it be depression or anxiety or just life's challenges. But I would really love to be at a place where I wasn't, cycling in and out of these long seasons of depression. So that would be my first thing that people could do. And then I guess having compassion and offering grace with me while I'm still a bit fragile, and making a conscious effort to really invest my time in caring for my family and my healing. And long term, I think this, will continue to get better. I don't foresee this being like the rest of my life, that I feel like I need to be a little bit more guarded or protective of my time and my energy. But I would just ask for your grace and your compassion in the midst of coming out of a really difficult time emotionally. And then I think I'd love to share just a few things that I think are maybe not as helpful, just in an effort to kind of round out the picture, because I know that there's very rarely someone who's trying to not be helpful, but there just are some things that I've found that aren't super helpful in the equation. I really encourage other people to share their own stories, and I don't mind at all hearing from other people who have wrestled with depression or anxiety. But one thing that is not helpful for me is when people try to share their stories in an attempt to tell me what it is that I need to do to get better. I think mental and emotional health is so varied from person to person, and there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer or supplement or medication or counseling technique or exercise regime or, I know that people want to share the things that have been helpful to them, but I think what I'm trying to express is that this is very multifaceted. There's a hormonal component, there's a chemical component, there's past history and trauma, there's just so many different factors that play into why people, or why I have struggled with mental and emotional health. And that being said, I think that means that everybody's journey with this is different. So while I really welcome people sharing their personal stories in an effort to connect, I don't think maybe sharing the specific things that are like the answer to depression or anxiety are really helpful for me. And then sometimes can actually be overwhelming when people say, how can I help? Right now, I feel like I'm in a better place where I have clarity to be able to maybe articulate how somebody could be more helpful or what it is that I need. But in the moments when I'm feeling the saddest or the most worried, it's really difficult for me to think clearly about what would be helpful. So I've just encouraged friends, if you feel like God is calling you to do something that would be helpful, then either just do it or ask directly, can I help in this particular way? And right now I'm in a place where I could say confidently, like, yeah, that would really be helpful. So that's where I'm at. I hope that this video expresses my heart in a way that is clear and helpful to this community that's growing. And I hope that it will encourage all of us to really be honest and authentic in our struggles, because this life is not easy, and specifically in the area of mental and emotional health, it's been a real struggle for me. So thank you for supporting us. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for praying for us. And we'll see you all soon.
Thanks.